In a stunning live broadcast that has sent shockwaves through the political world, Keir Starmer appeared visibly shaken, his composure unravelling before millions of viewers. Just moments ago, explosive revelations leaked on air threatened to end his leadership in a way no one saw coming. What was meant to be a routine interview turned into a dramatic breaking point, exposing secrets that could topple the Labour leader's career forever. The question now isn't if Starmer will resign, but how fast the political storm will consume him. Keir Starmer had long been seen as the steady hand in Labour politics. After years of opposition turmoil and scandal, many believed he was the man to finally restore order and credibility to the party. His public image was that of a calm, composed leader who carefully avoided mistakes and stayed disciplined under pressure. Yet beneath this polished exterior, tensions and cracks were quietly growing, far from public view. Whispers of internal conflict, controversial deals and strategic missteps had circulated within party circles, but none of it had surfaced in a way that could shake the public's trust. Until now. The moment that changed everything came just minutes ago, live on television, during what should have been a routine interview. Reporters dug deep, pressing Starmer on difficult topics that many believed he had prepared for thoroughly. Instead of the expected polished responses, Starmer's answers became increasingly shaky. Then, a sudden leak of confidential information caught everyone by surprise. The details were explosive, implicating Starmer in a series of decisions and private agreements that directly contradicted his public promises. This wasn't just political manoeuvring, it was a full-blown scandal with clear evidence, and it was unfolding in real time. The leaked documents revealed secret meetings and backroom deals that Starmer had kept hidden, involving senior party figures and controversial groups. These revelations directly challenged his leadership credibility and cast doubt on the integrity of his promises to voters. The public felt betrayed. The leader they trusted to champion transparency and justice was now under fire for exactly the opposite. As the news broke, Starmer's usually firm voice faltered, and his face showed visible signs of distress, sparking rumours of a breaking point. Social media erupted instantly. Thousands of viewers shared clips of the interview, highlighting every moment of hesitation and every faltering sentence. Critics and opponents seized the opportunity to call for his immediate resignation. The pressure mounted by the minute, with political analysts predicting that this could be the beginning of the end for Starmer's leadership. Yet, inside Labour headquarters, the atmosphere was reportedly one of shock and disbelief. Some aides were said to be scrambling to control the damage, while others quietly began preparing for an inevitable leadership change. What followed the leak was unprecedented. Instead of shutting down the story or dismissing the accusations, Starmer faced a wave of follow-up questions that only deepened the crisis. Each new revelation made it harder for him to maintain control. His public image, painstakingly built over years, started to crumble as viewers sensed the cracks behind the carefully crafted facade. The stakes had never been higher. With the next general election looming, Labour's chances now hung in the balance, and Starmer's future seemed more uncertain than ever. The immediate aftermath of the leaked revelations has plunged the Labour Party into an unprecedented crisis. What began as a political scandal confined to whispers and rumours has exploded onto the public stage with relentless force, leaving no room for denial or delay. Keir Starmer's apparent breakdown on live television did not just shock the viewing public, it sent shockwaves through the entire political establishment. Across the country, commentators, analysts and party members scrambled to make sense of the rapidly evolving situation. The atmosphere inside Labour headquarters is described as one of panic and confusion, with senior officials urgently convening emergency meetings to discuss damage control strategies. This is no ordinary scandal. It threatens the very foundation of Starmer's leadership and the party's future. The leaked documents, detailed and damning, painted a picture of secrecy and duplicity that struck at the heart of Starmer's carefully constructed image as a man of integrity. The revelations included evidence of clandestine negotiations with groups whose agendas starkly contrasted with Labour's public stance, as well as attempts to manipulate internal party processes to consolidate power. These disclosures called into question Starmer's transparency and raised concerns about possible breaches of trust, not only with the electorate, but also within his own ranks. Party members, many of whom had stood firmly behind Starmer, now faced the agonising decision of whether to publicly distance themselves or risk being tarnished by association. The political opposition wasted no time in capitalising on the unfolding drama. Conservative leaders and commentators launched a fierce attack, framing the scandal as proof that Labour had lost its moral compass under Starmer's guidance. The narrative quickly spread that the party was engulfed in corruption and internal chaos, weakening its position ahead of crucial elections. This narrative was amplified by widespread social media coverage, where the leaked footage and documents circulated rapidly, fueling public outrage and distrust. The intensity of public scrutiny was unprecedented, and pressure mounted for immediate answers and accountability. Meanwhile, inside Labour's parliamentary group, the crisis triggered a wave of dissent and unrest. A growing number of MPs, alarmed by the scale of the revelations and the public backlash, began to question whether Starmer could continue leading effectively. Reports emerged of heated debates and calls for a leadership contest, with some senior figures suggesting that the party urgently needed fresh leadership to rebuild credibility. The threat of a mass resignation or a coordinated leadership challenge became a very real possibility. This internal turmoil only compounded the external pressure, making it clear that the party's cohesion was fracturing under the weight of the scandal. Starmer himself, once seen as composed and in control, appeared increasingly isolated. The emotional toll was evident as his public appearances grew more tense and defensive. Behind closed doors, sources suggest, the leader struggled to manage both the fallout and his own doubts about how to respond. Attempts to issue statements and clarify the situation were met with scepticism and further demands for transparency. His usual calm demeanour gave way to moments of visible strain, signalling the magnitude of the crisis engulfing him. The leader's wavering stance was seized upon by both allies and adversaries, deepening the sense of instability. This unfolding crisis also sparked urgent discussions among Labour's key supporters and affiliated groups. Grassroots members expressed feelings of betrayal and confusion, while party donors and influential backers questioned their continued support. The financial implications of the scandal began to surface, as some major contributors reconsidered their commitments. In light of the reputational damage, the impact extended beyond immediate politics, with fears that Labour's weakened position could alter the balance of power in Westminster and shift the trajectory of upcoming policy debates and election outcomes. At the same time, the scandal has reignited broader debates about transparency, accountability and leadership ethics in British politics. Journalists and watchdog groups intensified their investigations, seeking to uncover whether the revelations were the tip of a larger iceberg. The role of media outlets in exposing the leaks and framing the narrative became a focal point of discussion, highlighting the complex interplay between political power and public scrutiny in a modern democracy. For voters, the scandal has raised profound questions about trust and the integrity of those who seek to govern them. As the crisis deepens, the clock is ticking. With national elections approaching and political opponents sharpening their campaigns, Labour's ability to recover depends on how Starmer and his team respond in the coming days. The pressure to provide clear answers, demonstrate accountability, and restore confidence is immense. Every public statement, every media appearance, and every internal decision will be scrutinised intensely. The stakes could not be higher, not only for Starmer's personal political survival, but for the future of the Labour Party and the direction of the United Kingdom itself. In this high-stakes environment, all eyes remain fixed on Keir Starmer. Will he weather the storm and emerge with his leadership intact, or will this scandal mark the beginning of the end for one of Britain's most prominent political figures? The next few hours and days promise to be decisive, as the political earthquake continues to reverberate across the country and reshape the landscape of British politics in ways few anticipated. As the public reels from the shock of Keir Starmer's looming resignation and the explosive leaks, a deeper story unfolds behind the scenes, one that reveals a complex and ruthless power struggle within the Labour Party, with far-reaching consequences for British politics. This crisis is not simply about one man's fall from grace, it is a symptom of long-standing tensions and factional battles that have simmered beneath the surface for years. Understanding this hidden context is essential to grasping the full impact of the revelations and what they mean for the future of the country. The leaked information has exposed more than just personal failings. It has illuminated a calculated attempt by certain factions within Labour to consolidate power by undermining rivals and controlling the party's narrative. Sources close to the party leadership have confirmed that several high-profile MPs and influential operatives were engaged in covert campaigns to sideline dissenters and steer the party towards a more centralised command. This internal jockeying for influence was disguised under the guise of party unity and discipline, but the truth was far more brutal, involving secret meetings, leaked documents, and backroom deals designed to silence opposition. This power struggle has roots stretching back to Starmer's initial rise to leadership, when competing visions for Labour's direction clashed sharply. On one side were those advocating for a return to traditional working-class values and grassroots engagement. On the other, a more centrist faction pushing for electoral pragmatism and alignment with establishment interests. The leaked revelations suggest that Starmer's camp leaned heavily into the latter, often at the expense of transparency and genuine democratic debate within the party. Critics argue that this approach alienated core supporters and created a culture of fear and suspicion, where loyalty was prized over honest discourse. Adding to the turmoil, the leaks unveiled troubling connections between Labour insiders and external interest groups whose agendas have been controversial. These relationships raise ethical questions and allegations of undue influence that have shocked even seasoned political observers. The extent to which these alliances shaped policy decisions and party strategy remains under intense scrutiny. For many voters, this confirms a growing distrust in the political elite, feeding into broader narratives of corruption and manipulation that have fueled populist movements across the UK and beyond. The consequences of this infighting are already becoming apparent on the ground. Constituency parties report increased defections and disengagement among members disillusioned by the scandal and leadership crisis. Several prominent Labour MPs have publicly voiced their frustration and hinted at resignations or defections to other parties, further destabilising the party's parliamentary presence. These developments risk fragmenting Labour's support base at a critical juncture, weakening its ability to present a united front against Conservative rivals and jeopardising its prospects in upcoming elections. Meanwhile, the British public is watching closely as the crisis unfolds. Polls indicate a sharp decline in trust for Labour and its leadership, with many voters expressing scepticism about the party's commitment to honesty and reform. The media frenzy surrounding the scandal has intensified public scrutiny, prompting calls for parliamentary inquiries and independent investigations. The situation has also sparked fierce debates about the role of political leadership and the standards to which elected officials should be held accountable. For many, the scandal reinforces a sense of political disillusionment and cynicism that challenges the very foundations of democratic engagement. Amid this chaos, other political forces are positioning themselves to exploit Labour's weakness. Opposition parties, sensing opportunity, have ramped up their campaigns to appeal to disaffected Labour supporters and undecided voters. Reform UK and smaller right-wing groups have seized on the scandal to push their narratives about the need for radical change and a break from the corrupt establishment. This realignment of the political landscape could have profound implications for governance and policy-making in the years ahead, potentially reshaping alliances and power dynamics in Westminster. The monarchy's role has also come under renewed focus in light of the scandal. King Charles's recent remarks emphasising integrity and public trust have been interpreted by some as a subtle rebuke to political leaders embroiled in controversy. The royal message resonates strongly in a climate where confidence in government institutions is waning, highlighting the symbolic importance of accountability at all levels of leadership. This dynamic adds another layer of complexity to the unfolding drama as politicians navigate the delicate balance between public expectations and internal party pressures. Looking ahead, the path to recovery for Labour appears fraught with challenges. Rebuilding trust will require more than superficial apologies or leadership changes. It demands a fundamental reassessment of the party's values, governance structures, and relationship with its members and the wider electorate. Many insiders warn that without decisive action to address the underlying causes of the crisis, Labour risks long-term decline and marginalisation. The stakes extend beyond the party itself, touching on the health of British democracy and the ability of political institutions to respond effectively to crises of legitimacy. In this volatile environment, every decision and statement will be scrutinised for signs of genuine reform or continued obfuscation. The next phase of the crisis will likely see intensified battles within Labour and across the political spectrum, as stakeholders vie to shape the party's future direction and the country's broader political trajectory. For observers and citizens alike, these developments underscore the fragile nature of political leadership and the enduring importance of transparency, accountability, and public trust in shaping the destiny of nations. As the political storm swirls around Keir Starmer and the Labour Party, with shocking leaks and rumours of resignation shaking the very foundations of British politics, it is more important than ever for you, the viewer, to stay informed and vigilant. This unfolding crisis is not just another headline to scroll past. It is a defining moment that could reshape the future of the United Kingdom. Understanding the stakes and the players involved empowers you to participate meaningfully in the democratic process, whether through discussion, voting, or activism. First, make sure you are following reliable and up-to-date sources of news. In an era rife with misinformation and sensationalism, distinguishing fact from fiction is critical. Cross-check reports from multiple reputable outlets and approach unverified claims with healthy skepticism. Political events like this often come with a flood of rumours and spin designed to manipulate public opinion. Your ability to see through these tactics is a vital defence against confusion and apathy. Second, engage with your local political representatives. Reach out to your MP, join local party meetings, or participate in community forums. Express your concerns, ask tough questions about how the scandal and internal Labour turmoil might affect policy decisions and your constituency. Politicians are more accountable when their electorate actively demands transparency and integrity. Your voice matters, especially in times of crisis, and can influence how political leaders respond and adapt. Third, consider the broader implications of this crisis beyond the immediate headlines. This scandal reflects deeper issues around political accountability, party democracy, and public trust. Think critically about the kind of leadership and governance you want to see in the UK. Support reforms that enhance transparency and reduce corruption. Advocate for mechanisms that hold elected officials responsible for their actions, ensuring that no one is above scrutiny. Fourth, discuss these developments with friends, family, and social networks. Healthy democratic societies thrive on informed debate and diverse viewpoints. Sharing credible information and engaging in respectful conversations helps to combat misinformation and fosters collective awareness. Your participation in these dialogues strengthens community resilience against political instability and encourages civic responsibility. Fifth, keep a close eye on upcoming elections and referendums. This scandal and the resulting shake-up in Labour's leadership will almost certainly impact the political landscape for years to come. Your vote is your power. Use it wisely to support candidates and parties committed to honesty, reform, and genuine representation. Don't let the fallout from this crisis erode your faith in democracy. Instead, let it motivate you to be more proactive and engaged. Finally, remember that political change often comes from sustained pressure and public demand for accountability. Don't underestimate the power of collective action. Whether through petitions, peaceful protests, or supporting watchdog organisations that expose corruption, your involvement can make a difference. The future of British democracy depends on citizens like you who refuse to accept secrecy and misconduct as the status quo. In closing, the revelations about Keir Starmer and the Labour Party serve as a stark reminder of the fragility of political systems and the essential role that transparency and integrity play in maintaining public trust. The coming days and weeks will be critical in determining how this crisis unfolds and what lessons are learned. Stay alert, stay informed, and above all, stay engaged. Your actions matter now more than ever.